everyone, Shy here with Sunshine Scents. Today's Soap Making 101 video is all about fragrance oils and how to use them in cold process soap. My previous videos were all about soap making equipment, fly safety, formulating your own recipe, and oils and butters. So if you watched those videos, then you're now ready for, in my opinion, one of the funnest parts of soap making, which is fragrance oils. I'll also be talking about common soap making terms when it comes to fragrance oils, so be sure to stick around. Essential oils are defined as a liquid that comes from the chemical compounds of plants. These tend to be more expensive and they don't come in a wide variety of scents. I actually never use essential oils just because I love my soap and other bath products to have a wide range of smells to them, and I just can't achieve that with essential oils. Some of the most common essential oils are peppermint, lavender, patchouli, and eucalyptus. Fragrance oils are synthetically produced and come in a wide variety of scents. It's important to know exactly how each fragrance oil will react with your soap because some fragrance oils can actually cause your soap batch to move slow, and some fragrance oils can cause your soap to accelerate. Fragrance oils should be used at a rate of 0.7 ounce to 1 ounce of fragrance oil per pound of soap. I love strong scents in my soap, so I always use 1 ounce of fragrance oil per pound of soap. How you would calculate this is by calculating the total weight of your soap, including oils, liquid, and lye. For example, my recipe for a single batch of soap adds up to 52.33 ounces. Each pound is 16 ounces, so this would mean that I would use around 3 to 3.5 ounces of fragrance oil. I hope I explained this right. If you're still confused, then Brambleberry has a great fragrance oil calculator, which I'll be linking in the description box. Acceleration happens when the fragrance oil causes the batch of soap to heat up more quickly than usual. I guarantee just about every soap maker has experienced this, and the results can range from mild to extreme, resulting in soap on a stick, aka when the soap is so hard that it's literally stuck to the stick blender. I'll be talking more about fragrance oils that can cause a batch of soap to accelerate in a minute. To get around accelerating soap, a few tips would be to always have your design pre-planned. When making soap, I always have every utensil I'm using and all of my colors right there by me just in case something goes wrong. Another tip would be to always slowly mix your fragrance oil in with the whisk first and then move on to the stick blender. If you're mixing and your soap does accelerate, don't panic. Just quickly finish what you're doing and hurry and pour it into the mold. Handling acceleration will come gradually with practice. Certain fragrance oils can cause overheating, which can also lead to acceleration. This is one reason why I always soap at room temperature. When you first start making soap, a lot of places mention that you should soap between 100 and 130 degrees, which in my opinion is way too hot. When I made my very first batch of cold process soap, I actually did soap at about 130 degrees, and my entire batch overheated and cracked down the middle. Overheating can cause your soap batch to bubble out of the mold, so just be careful of the fragrance oil you're using and be careful not to use it at too high of a temperature. This too will come with practice and you'll eventually get comfortable with soaping at a temperature that's right for you. I've actually never experienced ricing, but ricing is caused by the fragrance oil and looks like your soap has little pieces of rice in it. When this happens, you just keep stick blending until all of the ricing has disappeared. Discoloration is exactly what it sounds like, and in my opinion, these fragrance oils are some of the most annoying to work with. I only use a fragrance oil that I know will discolor if I know I'm going to be making a soap that is dark in color. For example, for my sexy chocolate soaps, I knew that I was going to be using darker colors, so I didn't mind using a fragrance oil that discolored. Discoloration is caused by the fragrance oil having vanilla in it. Pretty much any chocolate or dessert fragrance oil will discolor. You can always lighten your discoloring soap with titanium dioxide, but just note that the soap will more than likely still discolor. Any reputable fragrance oil vendor will have pictures of a cured bar of soap showing what the color will be after it is cured. In my opinion, fragrance oils without vanillin are easier to work with because you can use any colors in your soap batch without worrying that the soap will darken. Also, when buying a fragrance oil, be sure to check the vanillin content for each fragrance oil. Fragrance oils with a very small vanillin content are still able to produce soaps that won't discolor. It's only the fragrance oils with the high vanillin content that produce a dark or discolored soap. I'm terrible at explaining things, so I really hope I'm making sense. If not, I apologize, and I'll be linking an article about discoloration in cold processed soap in the description box. When purchasing citrus fragrance oils to use in cold processed soap, I would be very careful. Citrus fragrance oils include fragrances like orange, grapefruit, and lemon and are known for losing their scents after curing time. When I was new to soap making, I made a beautiful batch of soap that was scented with lemon, only to find that all of the smell had disappeared after about 4 weeks. If you still want to use citrus scents, there is a way around this. You can always mix the citrus fragrance oil with another fragrance. For example, you can do what I did and mix orange fragrance oil with patchouli to make an orange patchouli soap. Floral fragrances are notorious for accelerating a batch of soap. This is why in my whole inventory, I only have about 3 or 4 floral soaps. They're just harder to work with and you can't really do intricate designs with them. When using a floral fragrance oil, just be sure to work very quickly and already have a design pre-planned out. An IFRA sheet is a document that explains how much fragrance you can use in different products such as soap, lotion, and other products. Most fragrance oil vendor websites will have an IFRA sheet linked on their website, along with each fragrance oil detailing how much of each specific fragrance can be used. I'm now going to be mentioning some helpful tips, and the very first one I have is to make sure you always read the reviews. I will not buy a fragrance oil that has less than 4 stars. When reading reviews, I specifically browse for reviews mentioning use in cold processed soap. If too many reviews say that the fragrance oil accelerates, rices, or loses its scent after curing, I will not buy that fragrance oil. When making soap, prices for materials can add up very quickly, so you want to make sure you're not wasting money that could have been saved if you had only read the reviews. Also, be sure to read each fragrance oil page carefully to double check the vendor's notes on acceleration, ricing, and discoloration. I also want to add to make sure you're buying fragrance oils that are skin safe. If making lotion, chapstick, or any other skin product, double check to make sure that their particular fragrance oil is safe to use in those products. A reputable website will say what each fragrance oil is safe for use on. I couldn't make this video without mentioning some of my favorite fragrance oils, but to be honest, I have way too many to even mention, so I'll just mention some that stick out off the top of my head. Capri Olivo from Nature's Garden is one of my favorites because when I got married for our wedding favors, I made everybody a bar of soap scented with this fragrance, and our guests went crazy for it. People couldn't stop talking about the soap I made for them. Our wedding theme was 1920s Great Gatsby, and I just feel like this scent embodied that era perfectly. Another one of my favorite scents is Raspberry Lemonade from Nature's Garden. This fragrance oil smells exactly what you think a glass of raspberry lemonade would smell like, and has been a bestseller of mine for quite a long time now. I use this fragrance oil in cold processed soap, bath bombs, and sugar scrubs, and it performs so well in cold processed soap. Lastly, Rustic Woods and Rum from Brambleberry is on my list. I use this fragrance oil for one of my men's soap, and it's got such a fresh aroma to it that I can't get enough of it. It also reminds me of a fall fragrance that can be used anytime during the year. Lastly, for anybody just starting out and doesn't know who to get their soap making supplies from, Nature's Garden is hands down my favorite vendor for not only fragrance oils, but also almost every soap making material that I use. They have a huge variety of fragrance oil and have just about any fragrance that you can think of. I love them because I'm very impatient and they ship super fast and usually within the same week. They also have some of the cheapest prices for fragrance oil that I've ever seen. A typical 8 ounce from them will cost anywhere from $10 to $15, while other vendors usually charge about twice that amount. FYI, I'm not being paid by Nature's Garden to say any of this, I just genuinely love their company and what they stand for. I feel like they really cater to the small business community. Brambleberry is my second choice. Brambleberry is a little on the pricier side, but I will say once you purchase one of their fragrance oils, you really get your money's worth. In my opinion, their fragrance oils typically last a very long time in the soap. I hope I've answered any questions that you may have had about fragrance oils, and be sure to subscribe because the next Soap Making 101 video will be all about colorants. I also wanted to mention if anybody has an idea on a Soap Making 101 video or a topic that they would like to know more about, be sure to let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.